Hello students. Now we'll study the topic demand. What is demand? Before understanding demand, let's understand one concept of price. If you want to buy economics book, you will go to the bookstore, you will pay a price for it and you will get that book, right? Similarly, if you want a pen, you will go to the stationery shop, you will pay a price to the seller and you will get that pen. Similarly, if you want a car, you will go to showroom, you will pay a price for the car and you will get that car. So anything which a consumer wants, consumer needs to pay a price for that. And what is the price? Price is the amount which consumer pays to get that good. Price is nothing but the amount which he is paying, right? Now, next thing. Have you ever thought why do some goods command a higher price and some goods charge a lesser price? The main reason behind that is the availability and the uses. What is the meaning of availability? Availability is in what quantities they are available. If the goods are available in large quantity, generally consumer do not pay a price for it or they pay a lesser price for it. And one more thing, what the consumer sees in the market is the uses. If he thinks the good is of his use, then only he will pay a price for it. Now, let's talk about air. Air is available in large quantity and consumer is not ready to pay a price for it, even though it is useful for him, but still consumer does not pay a price for it. What is the reason? Because it is available in large quantities and these goods are known as the free gifts of nature, which are available in large quantity even though it is useful, but because the quantity is in large, he won't pay a price for it. So we have seen here availability and uses determine the prices for the product. Availability is large and useful is also large, but consumer won't pay. Why? Because availability, if goods are scarce, limited in nature, then only he is ready to pay a price for it. Now, have you ever wondered diamond, even though it is not essential for a consumer, but still he is ready to pay a higher price for it? What is the reason? The quantity available in the market. Because they are available in limited quantity, consumer is ready to pay a higher price for it. Now, next. See, diamonds, consumers feel they are very limited. Consumer will be ready to pay a higher price. Water is available in larger quantity. That's why consumer tends to pay lesser amount for it. This was the example of diamond and water. Next, there are free goods and there are economic goods. Free goods are those goods which generally doesn't charge any price. These are the free gifts of nature. For example, water, or we can say air, soil, they generally does not pay a price for it. Consumer won't pay a price for it because they are available in large quantity and as a free gift of nature. Another goods are economic goods. What are economic goods? Economic goods are like pen. Economic goods are like fan, AC, tube light, camera. These all things are economic goods. In our example, Coke, Pepsi, a water bottle is an economic good. Why? Because seller has incurred a charge in producing that good, and that is the price which he wants from the consumer. Seller is basically incurring some cost to make a particular good, and that is the price which he will get from the consumer, right? Next, here we can see there is a seller selling the products and here is the consumer who is ready to pay for the product. Why? Because they are thinking, because they are feeling that good is required by them, that is, it is essential for them, or they think it is useful for them. So here the seller charges a price for the product and consumer pays for it. Next, we can see here demand. Now what is demand? Demand is basically the quantities of the commodity which a consumer is willing and able to purchase. What is the demand? Demand is quantities of a commodity which a consumer is willing and able to purchase. Quantities, that is how much quantity a consumer is desiring to have. Now what is the meaning of desire? Desire is just a wish that consumer wants some good, but desire is not just sufficient for the demand. Why? Consumer must also have the ability, the resources to buy the product. For example, I wish to buy a BMW car, right? It is my wish, it is my desire, but this will only become demand if I have sufficient resources in my pocket. I can pay for that, I have a willingness to pay for that, then only it will be termed as a demand. So the quantities which the consumer is willing, in this image we can see they are demanding, they are desiring for the car, and they are also willingness to spend a particular amount to get that good. That's why it is known as demand. What is effective desire? Effective desire is when you have a wish to buy something, you have a desire to buy something, and also have the ability to buy that product. So quantities of a commodity which the consumer is willing and able to purchase at different possible prices during a given period of time. Now, there must be a price for it. For example, if a consumer feels the price is very high, he won't pay, he won't bargain, he will bargain to get the product. So there must be a price at what prices he is about to buy, and also the time period by which he will buy. For example, we can see the time period is a flow concept. Why time period is a flow concept? Because it is measured over a period of time. And there is another topic, stock, which is measured at a particular point of time. For example, there is one tank. Tank is filled with water. This tank is of 5 liters. Now I can measure this tank, like how much water is stored in it. So this is a stock concept. I can measure it at a particular point of time. But if there is one tap and the water is continuously flowing, I can't measure at a particular point. Why? Because the water level is continuously changing. I can measure in a day or in a month or in a week, like how much water is left in a day or how much water is there. So stock is basically which is measured at a particular point of time, and flow is which is measured over a period of time. For example, over the days, or we can say in a month, in a year. That is a flow concept. So what is the definition of demand? Demand refers to the quantities of a commodity which a consumer, who is a consumer? Consumer is a buyer. Consumer is willing and able to buy. Willingness, he has a willingness, he has a desire, and able to buy, that is effective desire. He also has the resources to buy the product during a given period of time, and also in different possible prices, at what prices he is about to buy. If I am saying I want to buy a car, it won't be termed as demand. Why? Because for the demand statement you want a price, time period, and also the quantities which you are about to buy. This will be known as demand. Now next we will study types of demand. There are generally individual demand, market demand, composite demand, derived demand. Okay, starting with the first topic, individual demand. Individual demand means what a particular consumer or what an individual consumer is demanding in a market. Like if I am going to buy a pen in the market, I am an individual consumer, right? I can also be termed as a household. So what a household is demanding in the market is known as individual demand. For example, your mother goes to the market and she buys grocery for the home. It will be termed as an individual demand. Why individual demand? Because a particular consumer, an individual consumer, is going to the market and getting the product. Similarly, if I say there are lot number of sellers, there are lot number of consumers, all the consumers going to the market and buying the product, it will be known as market demand. Why market demand? whenever there are more than one consumers buying a particular product in the market, it is known as market demand, which all the consumers are willing and able to buy in a market at different possible prices during a given period of time. This is the definition. Now, next comes the topic joint demand. What is the meaning of joint demand? Joint demand are basically those goods which are demanded together. Now we can say, if I want to buy a phone, I will also buy the charger with it, right? If I want to buy a pen, I will also need a refill. If I want to buy milk, I will also need the sugar. Those goods which are demanded together are generally known as joint demand. For example, we can say bread and butter. If I am buying a bread, then I will also buy butter with it, right? So what is the relation between bread and butter and the prices? If the prices of butter increases, the demand for the butter will fall. Why? If a consumer feels butter is expensive, he won't demand the butter. With also, he joint demand generally has an inverse relationship. That is, if the prices of the butter rises, the demand for the butter as well as bread falls. So we can give more examples as well. Pen, refill, then car, petrol. So refill is the good basically which is required for the pen. Petrol is required for the car. All those goods which are demanded together are known as joint demand. In our example here, if I want to buy a Parker pen, I will also need. So it is also the example of the joint demand. Next. Next comes the topic derived demand. Now, what is the meaning of derived demand? Derived demand are those goods which are demanded due to demand for some another commodity. For example, if I want to build a house, I will require the labors, I will require the raw material, I will require the steel so as to make a house. So derived demand is basically when the goods are demanded due to demand for some another commodity. Like if I want a pen, I will also require a plastic so as to make a pen, or the needle, or the basically lead. Anything which is demanded due to demand for another commodity is known as derived demand. In economics, generally factors of productions are known as the derived demand. Why? Because factors of production like land, labor, capital, entrepreneur are needed to make a certain product or a final product. That is why they are known as derived demand. Next, composite demand. What is the meaning of composite demand? Composite demand are those goods which have alternative uses. For example, we can say electricity can be used for fan purpose, for cooling purpose, for light purpose, even now it is used for cooking purpose, or we can say to charge our vehicles also we need electricity. So those goods which are used in alternative uses or which have many uses are known as composite demand. In our example here, we can see that electricity is used for communication, it is used for lighting purpose, it is used for heating or cooling purpose as well. Like we are using heaters, so we need electricity. If we want to use the air conditioner, then also we need electricity. If you want to light a bulb, then also you need electricity. If you want to charge your laptop, if you want to charge your mobile phone, still you need electricity. If you want to use some machines, if you want to charge your car, electric cars, still you need electricity. So those goods which generally have many uses generally are known as composite demand. We can also say the example of milk. Milk is used for drinking. Milk can be used for making curd. milk can be used for paneer. This is also known as composite demand. Those goods which generally have a lot of uses or many uses are known as composite demand.